Well, hey there. I'm Pastor Cody.
And I'm Pastor Matt.
And we're here on this faithful Thursday to have
Yes.
ourselves a conversation.
But
this isn't just any Thursday. No, this is our 5-year anniversary Thursday.
Yeah.
My brain almost worked.
Yeah, no, but we're excited. I feel like we're still running off this high from the weekend.
Yep.
It's been an incredible journey thus far, and we're just so very thankful. Just watching the video, just the 5-year anniversary video, hearing a few testimonials and seeing what the Lord has done. It definitely was just an idea, a thought, this thing of Bethlehem Church.
Yep.
And
we started in a garage, just like Amazon and Apple.
That's been debunked, I think.
It has. I heard that actually on.
That was the podcast.
I was so disappointed. I was like, "What do you mean they didn't start in a garage?
Yeah.
Like, all hope I have of starting a business is gone."
This Christianity Today podcast is like affecting everyone and everything. Yeah,
it's true.
It just shows that we just all want to dream, and
we do. We're dreamers.
Visions. Yeah,
which is an excellent segue into what we're talking about today.
The dream expert.
Yeah, the dream expert. So on Sunday, and you had mentioned it in your message, but anytime you ever call him and ask what he's up to or how he's doing, he will inevitably say, "Living the dream." If somebody put a gun to my head and say, you have to get the exact predicted response from somebody over a telephone or you're gone, I would call him and ask how he's doing, and I would get that response. Probably.
Key.
I would get it every time but then.
And then you would die.
But I feel like dreams and more or less your dreams specifically have kind of fueled this project known as Bethlehem Church.
Yeah.
Project is probably not the right word, but you all get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we're just, we're kind of jumping in. Genesis 37. There's an email from my wife coming through right now about Trunk or Treat Security. Right on. Genesis 37, the ultimate dreamer beyond this dreamer right here was Joseph.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that and just, maybe reminisce on some things in the past 5 years.
Yeah, Spitfire.
Yeah, it's good. So this is a special episode, special 5-year anniversary party thing that we're going to do here. And I'm celebrating 1 year of employment. Pray for me that continues. Just trying to pull my weight around here. But no, it's been a great year, great 5 years. And so let's jump in. All right, jumping back in here. So first thing, this is something that I noticed today, and you can't tell me I'm wrong because the data at this point proves that I am correct.
As we're putting all of the building back together
from
the 5-year anniversary.
As we've been reassembling our building all day yesterday and getting things cleaned and tied up today.
Yeah, it's been
but while checking the soap dispensers in the bathrooms, I've realized something, and that is that you men, myself included, do not wash your hands.
Nope.
You don't. I filled all the soap dispensers. All the men's bathrooms were about 3/4 of the way full or like not refillable, almost full. And then all of the women's bathroom, you women wash your hands. They were all almost empty. And these don't get filled that much. So some of you guys have been coming to church
You're gross.
and using the bathroom here for weeks or potentially months.
You're gross.
Who knows if they even needed to be refilled the last go around.
Probably not.
But y'all don't wash your hands.
Yeah.
We've come through a pandemic and you still don't wash your hands.
I think too the presence
of hand
sanitizer makes it worse.
It's true.
We all just walk out.
Got them. Okay, that I'll give you all a pass on because the hand sanitizer things were like empty. So
really?
So maybe not empty, but close.
Yeah.
So maybe you're cleaning.
That's what it was.
Maybe you're cleaning yourselves with hand sanitizer instead. Let us know in the comments what you think. But my personal opinion is that y'all are a bunch of dirtballs.
Well, after having our 4th child, and my wife is like, she does not want Rex to get sick. Which babies getting colds is like the worst thing. So it's like I told him I've definitely been washing my hands more.
Yeah.
But I can't say that I'm not guilty of the latter.
I know some of you guys go into the bathroom when you do the thing where you don't really feel like washing your
thing.
hands, but you turn the water on and you just kind of stand there for a second.
just so the person in the stall thinks that you washed your hands.
They think that you washed your hands, but really you're just a liar.
That's hilarious.
So
I love it.
I know some of y'all do that, and
That's
if you don't think it's you, it's you.
Yeah. Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yep, that was the point of Sunday's message. Thanks for tuning into our broadcast today.
Have a good one.
Yep.
So the dream expert, it was just kind of funny, like thinking about, we had just ended 1 Corinthians, and shameless plug for 2 Corinthians. We start that this coming Sunday.
Shameless.
And really excited about that. 2 Corinthians I think is going to be much better than even 1 Corinthians.
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. And many appearances by that guy. He's going to come up all throughout the whole series. But
I think he announced his candidacy again.
Oh gosh.
I think, I could be wrong, but I saw it was
Did he really?
It was a TikTok I saw. But the slogan was "Save America," and I was like, instead of like, or say something of that nature. It could have been photoshopped. I'm not
what
sure,
I think?
But I saw it.
Not that this is about politics, because it's not. But just one thought is that how about we just not have anyone that's in their 70s or 80s run for president?
Yeah. No offense to you 70, 80-year-olds.
I love all of you.
It hasn't gone too well.
Why can't we find somebody like in their 50s?
Yeah.
Like even 40s, you know?
Right.
I'm just looking at like even myself, like I'm, when I'm in my 50s, like I don't want to be doing what I'm doing right now. and I mean like at the scale at which I'm doing it.
Right.
Like I have energy, I'm running, I'm doing multiple things, and I'm not wasting my youth, and I don't feel how I felt in my 20s. I don't feel that way now. I already feel I need more sleep and all of that, right? And I'm in my 30s. I can't imagine how I'm going to feel in my 40s,
right.
And then once again in my 50s. And we've got presidents that are like 78 years old, and they're like, "Yeah, what up?
I'm in it for the long haul." Yeah. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, you are.
Yeah, like
I think Trump took Adderall like every day.
He's all. He's like getting. He gets up for a speech and he's like grinding, and it's gonna be. I just don't I don't get it. I really don't, man. Like we're the leader of the free world, and we can't find a dude in his 60s. We can't find a dude in his 50s to run for president.
40s, late 30s, somewhere in there.
Well, I'm not even saying that. I get the idea that this should be someone that isn't necessarily doing the work, right? But but they have to be able to have the cognitive ability to lead our country. And, I just think that it's got to be exhausting. It's got to be the most demanding job on the planet.
I flash back to that time that Trump called Tim Cook Tim Apple. Which, I mean, it's a, it was probably just a stupid thing, but it just really cracks me up. Like, what's your name, Tim Apple?
Grinding. Oh gosh, give me my mouth.
Like actually, Mr. President.
I need my mouth guard.
Yeah, you're Tim Cook.
Yeah, give me my mouth guard. I took one too many. Yeah, dude, it's just insane. Yeah. I would love to see. How did we get on this? But anyway, I would just love to see someone younger.
Dreams.
Yeah, dreams. Yeah. I would love to see.
When will you
younger.
see a president that's actually like aged, an appropriate age, and functioning well in your dreams? That's when you're going to see
your dreams. Yeah, when politics makes sense, like in your dreams.
In your dreams, and even then, it doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah, unbelievable.
This morning, I saw that Dunkin' Donuts. I didn't go through. Somebody posted about it.
They were out of donuts.
They were out of donuts, and I was like, "That's the final straw."
Yeah,
I'm running for office today.
Yeah,
I'm announcing my candidacy.
Like you messed with what? It's like that picture I've been seeing, and I don't know if it's. Who knows if it's real? It's
with all the ships.
Yeah, just like surrounding these ports. It's
apparently there's just not enough. Like there's a labor shortage still, and apparently, and this is just
my favorite thing. Dude, we're straight went political, like hardcore on this.
Thanks for tuning in.
God bless you. Yeah, let's finish this conversation over here. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, but it's like you see that, and it's like, and we want to close our borders, and there's a labor shortage. I'm like, oh my gosh, like the mentality.
There's always
of
a back door for like
exactly. Yeah. I'm like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I saw one.
The dumbest thing. You said that you're dumb, but I love you.
I saw
my
something
gosh.
is yesterday. Jen Psaki said somebody had asked her why they weren't concerned about vaccine proof for the immigrants coming across the border, and she was like, "Well,
it's
they
a
don't intend."
hotbed for COVID.
She said, "Well, they don't intend to stay here long term, so it's not an issue."
Oh my gosh. Like every other job, every other, even our church, it's like we strive for excellence, we strive to get things right and do things. It's like those people, they're in office doing their thing and like they don't have to get anything right.
Never. Never. Look, if you want to know where I'm at.
It's almost as bad as the weatherman is better than them.
It's true. Yeah. And if you want to know where I'm at politically, Republican or Democrat, you all do a terrible job. Terrible. And you should all be ashamed of yourselves.
Yeah, I think you pretty much hate every politician.
I do. I do. Yeah.
I for one am not that way. I definitely have people that I favor and that I think do a great job. But I don't have his perspective, and share that on everything. But
I mean, of course there are some on.
Yeah, my point is all of you are entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. And, if you have one that's different than mine, great. Just don't get at me for my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Oh, my gosh. I want to bring something up right now since we already are down the rabbit hole. I'm a huge, fan of comedy just in general. And I think, too, it's like there's someone in our church. I won't embarrass him on this podcast. But he makes he's basically an artist. He puts out these rap songs. I don't even think he puts.
I don't know who you are.
Puts them out. I don't know. I don't even think he puts them out. But he's got some really.
Well, he said he makes it with GarageBand, which
really?
I thought was impressive. Yeah.
I think he's got his own beat machine.
Well,
too.
he said something about that, but he said generally because I was like, well, how do you do that? He was like, mostly GarageBand. He's like, it's free, and I get some.
That's awesome.
I get beat loops from this website, and obviously the hardest part is making up what you're going to say.
Yeah.
And how that all kind of fleshes out. But
I think my point though in that
really impressive,
really good. He's really good at making music and
the best.
Yeah, and so it was like he didn't want to send me one of his recent songs.
I'm so glad you did.
I don't want to send that to the pastor, and I'm just like, dude, send it. I want
send.
Yeah, I want to hear it. I think that we, and we're gonna get into this in 2 Corinthians too, but. We use this legalistic mentality of right and wrong and the balancing of that to gauge who we engage with. And I think we would just, we would do a lot better just to be a little bit more raw and a little bit more and I don't mean this in
authentic maybe.
Yeah. Authentic. And I'm not saying accepting of other things, but in general, letting things be what they are.
Right.
There is no, authenticity is just gone.
It is. It's very gone.
And I can appreciate something for what it is, and learn from that and glean from that and let that contribute to me as a human being, without losing who I am, without losing my spirituality. I can listen to a comedian and, not just go live under a rock. It's like getting I thought somebody knocked on the door. But it's like I'm not going to get a coffee from Starbucks because of Starbucks views.
Because they didn't put Merry Christmas on their cups.
Right. You know what I mean?
Sad.
I don't get my theology from Starbucks. I don't get, it's that kind of thing. And for me, just being consistent in those things, they are completely unrelated, and I don't get my theology and my perspective from a coffee company. And so I think that there is a line that you have to figure out, where to draw and how to live and be in this world, and still be a normal human being. But there's definitely been a time period in my life where the movement that I was in took that way too far.
Yeah, I think there's a tendency when you lean that heavy on, on perhaps, I'm hesitant to even say heavy right wing stuff because it's really not what it is. I mean, it kind of is, but it's when you lean that far legalistic, you create your own culture and your own bubble.
That's right.
And you fail to influence the broader culture for the better.
Yeah, or even understand it.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Or even understand it because you don't. Mm-hmm. You don't understand it because you don't allow yourself to be exposed to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think for instance, hearing cussing or hearing a curse word, it's like Right. And I'm not trying to say that I curse or that I say those things, but the point is like that's not going to damage me at this point.
Right.
In my life.
Isn't it funny though? Like, isn't it the best thing ever when you're just like chatting it up with somebody and they feel free to use whatever vocabulary that they want.
Right.
And it's fine. Like, we don't care. Like, their verbiage doesn't bother us. And then you're like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry, Pastor. I didn't mean to, I didn't mean to curse in front of you.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, you totally destroyed me with your words. Like,
yeah,
it's like I don't know. It's just
I just think too. It's like I'm careful about what I expose my.
That sounded amazing in the microphone.
I'm careful about what I expose my children to because they're in their formative years.
Yeah, they're forming. Right. It's different.
But I hope that at some point, I will have imparted unto them, a greater way, a biblical path where they're able to get out and live and do life with people, and it's not going to derail them. You know what I mean? They're going to be able to go out and live life and influence others and not let other people influence them.
Yeah. And I think the opposite of that is when we insulate and create this little bubble for them to live in, and then they leave home and they just go hit my microphone, and then they just go nuts because they've never ever experienced like anything that's not Southern gospel music or
whatever,
anything that isn't a jean skirt or anything that isn't Pure Flix.
Yeah.
Which Christian community, you need to do better with filmmaking. They're just bad. I'm
Drew,
sorry.
Drew, you're doing great.
Drew, you're specifically doing well.
You are killing it.
Yeah,
you're headed in the right direction.
Man, I just want to throw up every time I watch like a mainstream Christian movie.
Well, I'm hesitant to say what I was gonna say or what I was leading up to as far as comedians, but there's a special that's out by one said comedian, and it is raunchy. I'll say that. But at the same time,
but it's funny.
But it's funny, dude. Send it. It's pretty raunchy, and I haven't even finished it. But it's of course I've read some
because you took breaks to pray in between.
Oh, I have to flush that one out. No, it's I fall asleep at the end of the day when I try to actually watch things, but
yeah.
It's just something, and I'm not going to co-sign or condone what's said, or give a position on either side, and that's my point. I believe, and I haven't finished it, but he's making this point that look, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's comedy. It's art. You know what I mean? Like we know in our minds that if we can't laugh at ourselves, if we take ourselves too seriously,
then you're going to have a bad time.
Not just we're going to have a bad time, but how's the Lord going to use that? How's the Lord going to use someone who constantly carries shame and bitterness? And takes themselves too seriously. Right. So I just think our nation as a whole, like everybody needs to take a freaking breath.
Yeah, I think Jesus had a pretty good sense of humor.
Of course he did. Yeah.
I mean, look at the platypus. Like that's comedic art in a
for sure
mammalian form. Is a platypus a mammal?
I
hey, you know
so.
What's funny? And this is something that Josh Blaine told me is that a group of platypus together are called they're called a paddle.
That's funny. That is pretty funny. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's just
I digress. It's just this thing of
moving on from the current events section of this broadcast.
Yeah. People just need to chill. They need to not take themselves too seriously and let humor be. Let comedians be. And it's the same thing. If you want pastors, hey, if you want to be free, if you want to protect freedom of speech, and you want people to leave your preaching alone, leave the comedians alone.
Right.
And that's the
stop trying to cancel people who disagree with you.
Yeah, that's the both sides of the aisle piece that I think is just vitally important that we're absolutely missing.
And I think something that like Lecrae has done really well in recent years, and I think he's severely misunderstood for what he's doing, but I think that he has shifted from being like the artist that's just like the Christian quips in a rap song to actually just being an artist who happens to be a Christian whose life overflows into his art. But he's not like the Christian rapper.
Right.
But he is a Christian and a rapper. But it's not, you know what I mean? Like it's different, and he gets hate, I think, for like departing the path that he was on, in the reform movement and whatnot. But I think he's just trying to be a little bit more real, and he actually
Well, I think
I think he takes seriously influencing hip hop culture and using that as a ministry.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, which is
reaching people that I will
fantastic.
never ever reach, you know?
That's right. But I think too, it's like, you could get a little bit of this like playing both sides of the fence when someone is making a transition.
For sure.
When someone's going through a change and they're like, well, this is who I am. I'm only in these, evangelical circles, and then they're branching out. It's like, there's no grace for people to change anymore. There's no grace for people to take a different position.
There's not. And in his most recent book, he tells,
you read that, didn't you?
It's really good.
I haven't read it.
I Am Restored was the book.
Yeah.
But he tells the story about how when he started to make this shift, I mean, they just hung him out to dry.
So he's open about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Super open about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. They really hung him out to dry, which, I mean, it happens, unfortunately.
It's almost to be expected,
Mm-hmm.
Which is a shame.
Yeah.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
We see it in our culture. We see it in our churches, just on a smaller scale, in the sense that like things that we disagree about theologically or whatever, and in our, our broader culture is doing it with their, things that they think need to be pushed or excelled, or their political party, and just all across the board. Take a deep breath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Take a deep breath, and it's okay. It really is, and it's going to be okay.
I love what Jordan Peterson says, and he says all these people out here that want to, and I mean the internet and social media gives everybody a platform who will tickle the ears of somebody else.
Yeah.
But he's like, stop trying to change the world and just get up and make your freaking bed in the morning. Like how about you change your world and get your world straight before you try to change it, to be what you think it should be for everybody else. And I think that's something that's just lost.
It is.
Really my whole generation.
Yeah.
We all think we need a voice. We all think that, things need to change, but
that's
of us.
the beauty of freedom.
Right. Yeah, it is.
That is the beauty of it.
It is.
And so anyway, I think, when let's slide into this. Your phone's going off. Let's slide into this 5-year
Let's slide
anniversary.
in real quick. Yeah. The Dream Expert, Genesis 37, starting in verse 19. Wait a minute. No, 10, verse 10.
Yeah, and I just threw a scripture in there. That's the dream scripture.
Yeah,
where
and if you
want to
go back, we have the I'll put the link to the service in the message rather in the notes, and then the sermon notes in the notes as well.
Yeah, I just thought about the last 5 years. When I was sitting down to kind of just pin a message, and I had just been thinking and praying on like, Lord, what do you want me to share? What do you want me to do? Do we just want to take testimonies? And I definitely, it's innate in who I am. We've got to preach. Got to have a message.
Got to preach.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this passage, which is one of my favorites, and I even alluded to the fact that this is probably my next tattoo. But it's just one of those
I
things.
want one so bad. I need to go.
You've only been saying that for how long?
I don't know. It's been like 2 years probably.
Yeah, I think you're scared.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely scared of it. But I just behold the dreamer cometh, I think is the King James version. But looking at the CSB, here comes the dream expert, and I thought to myself, like, how many things have I thought about, or over the last 5 years of our church, like it was a thought, it was a dream almost. And I understand that some people see dreams differently than I do, and I'm kind of being exposed to the more dreams and visions that we would say of folks that are more continuous in nature. But
yeah,
I'm just speaking from personal experience. When I have a vision or a dream or a calling from the Lord, it's for me. I think about like tangible, like actionable steps and how the Lord has led us and led our church. I just go back through. And it's literally just been like living and working out this dream, working out this calling of what the Lord has had for us. And it's incredible. It really is.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It doesn't mean that it's been easy. It doesn't mean that it's all been, a cakewalk. But, man, his provision has been real. I mean, it's been seen. It's been evident. And I'm just so grateful to be along for the ride of what the Lord is doing.
Yeah.
So grateful.
It's been a neat 5 years, and I'm really thankful that my wife and I have been a part of it since day one. And I think about just the days at Merritt Park and what things looked like before there was ever a youth group and before there was ever a kids ministry. And now here we are. We've got a booming kids ministry. We've got a pretty vibrant youth ministry, and all of these things that we're a part of. And it's funny to think about the fact that at one point, like, not only were they, it's not even that they were small, they just didn't exist.
Yeah.
And all of the, the building that we've transitioned to, all of what the building used to look like before we got here, the people that are here with us, that are serving with us, that we didn't even know 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, what a journey. And you can't help but watch the video. I mean, I've watched it a couple times, and I'm not a crier, but I was almost to tears watching the video when you first sent it to me, and then when we watched it live with everybody on Sunday.
Yeah.
Just what a vision, what a journey, and it's just it's kind of exciting to think about, because I can't, prayerfully we won't lose momentum. Like, what's the next 5 years look like?
I know. Yeah, I know, and it's whatever he wants it to look like.
Yeah.
And I really feel that way. And it's, I think about, the Bethlehem steel piece, think about the amount of things that have changed even from when we made this video and shot it to when it released. Bethlehem Steel's actually opening back up.
What?
I said in the video, like,
that's not going to age well in like a week.
Well, I think for me it was almost comical, because here's this story, right? Obviously this thing of Bethlehem Steel was, it is just inundated with this whole community.
And it'll never be what it was.
No, oh no, and I think they're opening it with like 500 employees or something. But
cool,
it's really neat. Governor Hogan was there and
where's it going
announced,
to be? Is it
same place?
Really? No
Yeah,
way.
they're starting up, I believe, manufacturing and making this transition to producing steel. I'm thinking, I don't have the whole story, nor did I watch the whole unveiling. But
it's really hard to watch Harry Logan's press conferences, so I don't blame you.
Look, let's not digress into that
Right.
those weeds again. But the point of the change, hearing that Bethlehem Steel is actually going to open back up, and none of I didn't anticipate that. And for me, it was like, oh man, we have this in the video. And I told Drew before, because when I saw this was maybe 2 weeks ago. And of course I knew what was coming with the video.
Right. Yeah.
I was talking to him about it Saturday or Friday night. I think it was Friday night when we were confirming and finishing up the video. I was like, it's funny that it's opening, but for me, it's not, oh my goodness, this is terrible that this is actually happening and it's different in our video. It was like, look, anything can happen.
Anything.
That was more about what the Lord did in my heart with this, is literally Bethlehem Steel is reopening, and thinking about what I think the next 5 years is going to look like. The Lord has exceedingly above what we are asking or thinking, and what we know that he's going to do. And, there's, for those of you that know me, know that, I've always got 4 or 5 things going, as far as like the direction of our church. And
at any given time.
Yeah, and what could be. And, we're exploring a lot of different things right now. But I don't ever want to do those things at the expense of forgetting the mission, simply Jesus. And literally one life at a time. I mean, I think, how many baptisms this year? 21?
Well into the 20s. I want to say like 23 or 24 baptisms this year. Yeah.
24 baptisms for a church our size is exceptional.
Yeah.
It's exceptional. And, so we're not just saying, oh, look at these things and look what God has done. Like, we're not leaving our first love. We're not leaving the foundation of what it means to invite others to follow Jesus and lead them in that and disciple them into that. And we're being nimble and we're being creative. This is kind of interesting. So this will air Thursday. So today it's Wednesday. Tonight we will have our Connect groups again. And we tried some things, for the last, what was it, 6 weeks?
It's probably been
2 months?
It's probably been 6. Yeah, we had an off week because of the weather, but
that's right. So
6.
we tried something, and it had a really strong start, which was pretty cool. But it didn't necessarily. And we're not saying we won't try it again, but we're trying new things and we're trying to innovate. And so we tried.
And sometimes when you innovate, things don't work out.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
But we're okay with it.
Right.
So we're shifting back tonight to. The way that we were doing small groups. We tried this collective thing and shifting tables and this kind of open atmosphere. And I think that there's a place for that. It's just not for our Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
Anyway, but the point is we're going to continue to innovate. We're going to continue to try new things. And we're not going to be defeated when something doesn't happen.
Yeah.
If this was our baby, if this was our church and not the Lord's church, then we would be debilitated by now.
You know what's funny is there's like a rack in the shed outside that has old banners on it, and like 3 or 4 of which are banners for things that never actually came to fruition.
I'm thinking back to the kids, the summer day camp.
The summer day camp, and then the
one was Easter.
The Easter, and then I think there was a different one for it was like road signs for the learning center or something. There's some just some interesting things in there of things that we've tried and
and things that we are not saying, oh, this is never going to happen, but it's just not the right timing. Yeah.
We just happened to get 0 phone calls. So.
One phone call. And we still get messages from her. Are you starting it yet?
Really? I wonder if it's the same person. I responded to a phone call on the church line today. Somebody had called in and asked about children's programs.
Probably.
So maybe that was her.
Yeah, it's probably the same one. But
if you're watching, we don't have any like that. So,
not yet.
Just Sundays and Wednesdays.
Yeah, already, but not yet. No, I'm kidding. But it's just an incredible thing to yield to the Lord and have a dream and launch out and say, okay, it's not time. Okay, that didn't have the impact that we thought, or let's wait on that, And so it's been an exciting journey, and
it has been.
And I think that it's going to continue to be, I really do.
I think so too.
Yeah, but
it's going to be good. And all of you are along with us for the ride.
I would say this too, even
Godspeed.
There were even some announcements that we were going to make on Sunday about some things that, we want to do and have already, things have already changed.
It's all going to blow your mind at some point. Whenever it all comes to fruition the way it should, it's going to blow your brain, literally.
Yeah, but it's
in a good way.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things that over and over the Lord is continuing to teach me to be patient, to be thoughtful, thought-provoking in these things, and just letting His Spirit lead.
Yeah.
I'm definitely in a different place with how I'm being led, right, than where I was when we first started this thing. And for that,
for our 25-year anniversary,
grateful.
I'd like to think that we'll have 20 church campuses meeting together in the Raven Stadium.
Ooh,
that's ambitious, right?
That's a little too that's a little too Mars Hillish for us.
That's true.
Let's not do that. No, even if we had no.
I didn't even. It's just on the peripheral.
That was a really bad idea.
Yeah.
We're gonna let that one die right there.
It'd probably be more along the lines of like the Iron Bird Stadium.
There you go.
It's a little bit more.
We're going to Aberdeen.
A little bit more feasible.
Yeah, but look, I'm not trying to.
No, our Aberdeen campus will be at the Iron Bird Stadium.
I think there's already a church that meets there.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No way. That's
unless
awesome.
they got a building, they've been meeting there for years.
That's awesome.
It was the church that John Wood attended. I think it was his brother-in-law or something like that. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But anyway, we're in a great place. We're just being led by the Lord, and I feel like I'm not what's the word? I'm not tied to any one thing.
Right.
I feel like we have this pretty loose idea of 20 churches that we want to see started, and how that happens, how that's executed. We've got some ideas. We have some things in the works, but we're fairly nimble, fairly flexible on that.
Yep.
Anyway. With that idea, we talked about dreams.
We talked about dreams
on Sunday. Yeah.
There's like so many parallels between Joseph and Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that a messianic tradition that is often ignored is the Messiah, son of Joseph thing. You always hear about the Messiah, son of David. That's a pretty consistent theme, and very few times I think it's mentioned in the New Testament, like once or twice. But it can be construed as like Joseph was his father, however you want to put that. I don't know what the technical way of putting that, but I believe there's a reference or two to him being the son of Joseph in the New Testament, but it kind of gets glazed over because, he is kind of the son of a Joseph of that time.
Yeah.
But son of Joseph, like there's a pattern here of where, you have Jesus, who's the great shepherd, Joseph, who was a shepherd, and he was the object of his father's love. There's so much there.
Parallel.
That's so parallel. Yeah.
I put an excerpt in there that
Betrayed
I didn't have
by his
time.
brethren.
Oh yeah. I have an excerpt in there that is How to Read Genesis by Tremper Longman. Have you heard of him?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I found that
I don't know that I've read any of his stuff, but I have heard of him.
it just came up in my Logos search, and I thought it was a really good excerpt. I didn't have time to read it on Sundays, but it goes like this. Finally, we come to the story of Joseph. Nowhere is Joseph connected with Jesus in the New Testament. Certainly, there is nothing like prophecy in a narrative account in the life of Joseph. However, the reading of the story of Joseph in the light of the gospel leads the sensitive reader to note an analogy between the way God worked salvation through the life of Joseph and how he did so climactically in the life of Jesus. And it's just, it is so parallel.
So many.
So
and
parallel.
I feel like it's often overlooked, like, because you always, I feel like classically, you never hear sermons about how Jesus or Joseph was a type of Christ.
Right.
You know, it's always, you know, Jesus is the seed of David, you know, so that's the big one. And then, but there's just and when you think about, I've been listening through the Paradigm series that the Bible Project is doing. This is really good. But when you think about, you take a step back and you think about what Jesus said when the writings, the prophets, and the law, like it all is about him. And you read it.
That's right.
And if you read it by itself, you don't, as a Westerner specifically, you can't really come to that conclusion because it's just kind of a foreign idea. You can read the New Testament back into the Old Testament, but then it's kind of funky and it doesn't really work. But if you're reading it thematically and you're paying attention to these big themes in the lives of all these major players, Joseph, David, Joshua, Moses, Solomon, you know, but there's a theme beyond the verses that we pluck out of context that we say are messianic promises. But there's this theme of, you know, this anointed figure and what he does and how, how all of that points to a rising and dying Messiah.
Yeah.
You know, it's just very interesting. But Joseph is such a big player in that picture.
Yeah.
You know?
The rising and dying Messiah that would save his people from their sins, the world.
Yep.
You know, so the people, his brothers, saving them, you know, and the certain famine and death that would come, and, you know, being given up for that purpose and being betrayed into that purpose. The same exact thing.
It's the same
that Jesus has walked through, and it's just it's incredible.
Yeah.
But just like on that note, you know, leading to like the two main points, bad or hard times are not the devil winning, but rather the Lord using circumstances for his purpose and his glory. You know, if we're going to be Jesus followers, if we're going to be Christians, you know, and disciples of the Lord, then we have to start viewing hardships from a different lens and from a different perspective. We have to start viewing suffering from a different lens and a different perspective.
And if you think about Joseph's dream, like it was a dream of exaltation, you know, and I would imagine that he kind of got a little excited seeing, you know, I think it was corn stalks, right?
Yeah.
The dream.
One was corn stalks, and then the other was, I think, stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that's some interesting stuff in that one.
It just keeps going.
It just keeps going.
Yeah.
But you know, you think about this dream of exaltation, and then
I'll think about that Lucifer, the falling star, the vision of him being the rising star, and then that's what Jesus is, signified by the star over it. Like,
there's so much there.
The anti-Jesus type, and then the Jesus type. Like, it's so good.
But when you think about on a practical level, like his dream was that he was going to be exalted, and he was. But the journey to his exaltation was not at all what you would consider the typical journey to the throne. You know what I mean? And once again, parallels to Jesus. Jesus was exalted. He was high and lifted up, but not in a way that
they thought
a normal king would.
That's right.
You know, the crucifixion was his coronation. In the same way that Joseph's suffering ultimately led him to a place of exaltation. Yeah. So when we have dreams and when we feel like we're pushing in a certain direction and we are met with, and it's kind of the same thing we talked about with Paul last week, you know, where he was met with adversity on his journey. But when you know that what the end game is and you're pursuing that and you're met with adversity, we can't count that as, oh, well, this must not be meant to be then. Because the greatest triumphs are always paired with great tragedy. They always are. Yeah. You know? That's right. And in our 5-year journey as a church, we've endured, you know, collectively as a body, you know, much tragedy. You know, I would say a lot of people have experienced a lot of loss. And we've experienced a lot of things collectively as well,
Yeah.
you know?
From funerals to setbacks to
Yep.
even, our own brothers and sisters leaving, going somewhere
Right.
else, or,
Yep.
like it has. It's not the easiest thing.
It's not.
messy.
It is. Church is messy.
Yeah.
And when we think about where we are, not that we're trying to describe ourselves as being like a coronated king church here,
No.
but, this dream that you've had has, what the end game for you is 20 churches, but in between now and that, there's going to be a lot of hardship.
For sure.
And in your life, you know what your desired end game is, but there is a cost to be paid to get there.
Yeah, and even yielding that number, and we've talked about this. I have this like vision for it, but it's the Lord's. If He wants that or doesn't want that, or if He wants one and then I die and then more after, whatever,
Right.
His ways are how we approach that, and that's what we cling to.
Yeah.
And so the second piece, easy times are not the source of joy, but rather the opportunity to rest, reflect on all that God has done, is doing, and is going to do. It's just this world view, this idea that hard times and easy times,
there's an inseparable relationship.
right? And they both have their place and they both have their purpose. And I think that without, and we're going to get into it more in 2 Corinthians in an incredible way. How Paul is going to tie these things in. For this the word is reconciliation. That's what he's after.
Yep.
But if there's a part of you, as we close out 5 years and we begin this new chapter, but if there's a part of you that has been tying your current situation and your current circumstances to the love that God has for you, just know that there's going to come a point in time where that's challenged, where that is put to the test. And so let's not put our faith in God into something as volatile as, our lives on this earth, or our health, or our financial solvency.
For sure.
Because all of those things are here today and gone tomorrow, but His word, the truth of God's word, who God is, those things never change.
They never change.
His affection towards you, it's never going to change. He
Right.
loves you. He's for you. He's always there. And so the good and the bad will always be fluid. Don't hang your faith or your relationship with the Lord on the rise and fall of things in your life. Those things can come and go. Set your affection on things above, not on the things of this earth, where thieves break through, moth and rust doth corrupt. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Let's put even our dreams, our aspirations, let's put them in the kingdom of God.
Yep.
Let's put them in the Lord's hands and see what He does as we steward it.
Yeah. That reminds me of so I just finished Outer Banks, the TV show.
How many seasons is that?
There's
thing?
two.
Oh, that's not too bad.
It's relatively, the second season just came out a couple months ago, I think.
I don't think I'm out of the first season yet.
It's I can't spoil it for you then. All right, never mind.
Yeah, don't spoil
Never
it.
mind.
I actually enjoy it. I don't get to watch it very often.
It's really good, right?
But
it's like a hook.
It is. It's I mean, it's kind of a little. I don't know. The first 3 or 4 episodes, I was like, "This is kind of like some kind of teenage soap opera."
It has a Stranger Things feel, where it's like the group of buddies, the teenagers.
Yeah, I can see that.
But
I'm gonna stay in it because you keep telling me it's good.
It picks up hard. Where are you at in the story?
The main boy just
John B.
fell off the tower, and then he's ended up in the house.
He's in the hospital, and he's living at Ward's place.
He's living at Ward's place, but you get this sense that Ward is now the bad guy. But that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, man,
that good.
Buckle up. I thoroughly
buckle up, Buttercup.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think that it's a neat plot with the treasure stuff and all, and how that kind of evolves. But just the twists and the turns, and you never know who's. Like, you always kind of feel like somebody's going to die, but they don't. And it's just like, I don't know. The suspense just kills me, man. And I can't, I could intake like a part of an episode a night when we were watching it, because I would just get to a point and I'm like, I'm done. I got to go to bed. And my wife didn't care for it much, but she's like, I'm sucked in now. I have to continue, So she begrudgingly watched with me, and I watched Dancing with the Stars occasionally with her to compensate.
Man,
not often as I should. But
I got a word for that, and I'm not going to say it on this podcast.
we'll save that. Hey, look what's behind the paywall. Subscribe to our Patreon, and you'll be able to hear him call me something that he doesn't want to call me on air. But shifting back into that, that would have been such a good illustration, but I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Don't spoil it.
Or any of you who may still be watching it. But your second point, you hit on that a lot just now, but easy and good times are not the source of our joy, but rather the opportunity to rest and to reflect on all God has done, is doing, and is going to do. And I think that's about, where we stood at our 5-year mark at a place of reminiscing of what he has done and what he is going to do. And I think that we're really looking forward to what he's going to do through us the next 5 years.
Yeah, we are.
And hopefully none of us get in the way of that. Is kind of how I'm looking at it.
I'm sure we will, but
well, we always do.
He'll deal with it.
I think my biggest fear is that it's clear that at our church, and I'm sure if you're watching and you're a part of another church, I'm sure your church is doing great things too. But this is our world here, and God is doing great things. And if you go here and you're a part here, I think you can see that. Yeah. But the last thing that I want to do is get in the way of that continuing. And a consistent prayer of mine is that I don't want to be in the way. But and not just not in the way, but I also want to be a part of what moves it forward. Yeah.
More of the less of me.
And let that be a prayer for all of us who are involved here, is that that we don't get in the way, and we don't cause unity in the body, but we press forward and we make our mark on our community, for the sake of the gospel.
Amen. Good stuff.
Really good.
Well, we had a lot of twists and turns today.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Just a conversation.
Yep, we're just chatting here.
Yeah.
So
love you guys.
Yep, love y'all.
Yeah,
God bless. Do less.
Have a great evening.